Hello, welcome to another video in the series on how to use CNC Write. This video will go into the details of the Sequence tab. The Sequence tab is used to engrave serial numbers on parts. The fields here are pretty straightforward. However, the limitations of some CNC machines makes the way we use this page not always so obvious. Start number is the first number in the sequence, and end number is the last number in the sequence. Step is in case you want only even or odd, or every third number, etc. I'm not sure why you would want to use that, but it was simple to implement. Maybe if you have more than one machine making the same part. The Use Arc Settings checkbox will use the settings from the Circle Text tab to engrave numbers on an arc. Prefix is text to engrave before the sequence numbers. Suffix is for text to engrave after the sequence numbers. Digits is used to add leading zeros to the sequence numbers. If you are planning on making 500 parts and want the first serial number to be 1 and want them all to be the same length, set digits to 3 and the first serial number will be 001. Each number can be saved in a single file or many files, specifically one file for each number. Finally, there is a field to enter G-codes to insert before each number and one for G-codes to add after each number. I believe it is most common to put all of the numbers in a single file. Let's take a look at a simple example. I'll start with 1 and go to 100. Then add M99 to the text box labeled G-codes to add after each sequence. I'll save that in the file SN for serial number. Let's take a look at that file. The third line is N1, and line 13 is M99. The lines between are the G-codes to engrave the number 1. Now let's look at the first two lines. These two lines came from the Machine tab. We'll take a look at that a little later. To track which number needs to be engraved, a counter needs to be saved in a variable. In this case, 531. Before making any parts, that variable needs to be manually initialized with a value of 1 less than the first serial number. For this example, you would set 531 to 0. In the main program, you would call the serial number file as a subprogram. The first line will add 1 to the variable 531, and the second line jumps to the start of the corresponding serial number with the goto command. Then, when it gets to the line with M99, it will return to the main program. I've been told M99 is used for subprogram return on most, but not all machines. That's why I didn't include it by default. If your machine uses a different M code for return, use that instead. Let's try another example. Suppose your customer wants you to make a few thousand of their new product and anticipates eventually making 50,000. They want them to have 5-digit serial numbers starting at 1 and prefixed with SN:. Because of the limitations of many CNC machines, it's best to put no more than 1,000 serial numbers in a single file. For this example, we'll do the first 999. Start will be 1, end will be 999, digits is set to 3, and prefix is set to SN:00. You could set digits to 5 and the prefix to just SN:, but this way is more consistent with how the rest of the serial number files will be created. We'll see that later. If we look at the properties of this file, we see that it is getting close to 1.5 megabytes. If that is too large for your CNC machine, you will need to reduce how many serial numbers are in the file. Now let's create the next 1000 serial numbers. To avoid needing to reset the part counter variable every time we make a new serial number file, we need to add some math before the go-to line. So let's look at that on the Machine tab. In mathematics, there is an operation called modulus, usually abbreviated MOD or mod. This operation returns the remainder of an integer division. For example, 37 divided by 10 is 3 with a remainder of 7. So 37 mod 10 will return 7. A mod 10 operation will always return a value from 0 to 9. This comes in very handy in computer programming. In this case, after the part number count parameter is incremented, we need to save the remainder of the part count divided by 1000 in a local variable. To do this, we insert this line before the go-to line. #5 equals #531 mod 1000. Then the go-to line will need to be changed to go-to #5. Now, variable 5 will always be a value from 0 to 999. This way, the variable that contains the part count will always be the actual part count. If you already keep a part count and increment it somewhere else, you can use that variable and don't need to increment it in the serial number file. I don't know how common it is for CNC machines to support the mod operation, but according to the CNC Cookbook website, it is supported by FANUC Macro B, which they say is, quote, by far the most common macro programming dialect. Now back to the Sequence tab. Now Start needs to be changed to 0. End will stay at 999, digits will be 3, and prefix will change to SN:01. For all of the remaining serial number files, you will only need to change the prefix value. That brings us to the end of another video. You can experiment with CNC Write by downloading it and using the website NC Viewer. Just remember the limitations of the free trial that are described in the intro video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I will be posting another video soon that will go into details on the Machine tab. If you need to know more before the videos are finished, you can find good explanations of all the fields by clicking on different parts of the image on the Screenshots page of the website at cncwrite.com. Until next time.